Hollywood adored him. America trusted him. And every Sunday night, millions gathered around the television to watch the man who seemed incapable of sin. Michael Landon, the face of faith, family, and virtue. But there was one story the cameras never caught, and the networks never dared to air. It began in 1976, halfway through Little House on the Prairie's golden years. The Prairie was quiet. The cast had gone home, and under the fading glow of the California sunset, Michael stayed behind, not to rehearse, but to wait. She arrived quietly, always after dark. A woman the world knew well, Karen Grassl, his on-screen wife Caroline Ingalls. To the audience, they were the model couple. To the crew, they were something else entirely. No one dared speak of it, but everyone knew. No between takes, they lingered. Between scenes, they disappeared. And one night, a young camera assistant claimed he saw them in Michael's dressing room. The lights dimmed, the door half closed, her hand resting gently on his shoulder as laughter turned into silence. It was supposed to be harmless, a moment, a spark. But moments in Hollywood rarely stay that way. By spring, the rumors had escaped the set. The tabloids began asking questions NBC didn't want answered. When a photographer caught a blurred image of the two leaving a Malibu restaurant hand in hand, NBC executives scrambled. Publicists denied, agents threatened lawsuits, and Michael himself brushed it off with a smile that was almost too calm. "You can't fake chemistry," he told People magazine, "but you can misunderstand it." But by then, everyone had already chosen what to believe. Karen Grassl stopped giving interviews for months. Her character faded quietly from the emotional center of the show. And Landon, the man who built his career on being the perfect husband, had suddenly become Hollywood's most complicated one. On screen, their marriage endured. Off-screen, it was falling apart. Those who worked the set said you could feel it in every scene. The tension, the guilt, the love that couldn't be spoken. Hollywood called it the affair that never happened. But those who were there called it something else, a secret too real to film and too dangerous to forget. By the summer of 1977, the line between fiction and life had blurred completely. What began as whispers between camera crews had now grown into quiet panic inside NBC's offices. The network's crown jewel, Little House on the Prairie, was no longer just America's favorite family drama. It had become a scandal waiting to explode, when the tabloids hinted at a secret love behind the Prairie fences. NBC executives called emergency meetings in Burbank. Publicists were told to deny everything. Scripts were rewritten to keep Michael and Karen apart in key scenes, and the studio's head of publicity ordered a full blackout on personal interviews. But on set, silence said more than words ever could. Karen Grassl arrived earlier, left later, and avoided eye contact with Michael except when the cameras rolled. He, in turn, became distant, colder, sharper, the sparkle in his eyes replaced by a weary calm. One crew member recalled, "They used to laugh between takes. Then one day, they just stopped." The chemistry that once made the Ingalls marriage the emotional core of the show now felt too real, too heavy. Every glance between them on screen carried the weight of what couldn't be said off it. It was during the filming of Season 4 that everything finally cracked. A gossip columnist from Hollywood Today showed up uninvited to the set, claiming she had letters, handwritten notes between the two stars. Whether they were real or not, no one knew. But NBC didn't wait to find out. Karen was quietly offered a rest period, an extended hiatus that would allow creative refocus. Behind closed doors, everyone knew what it meant. She packed up her dressing room, and within a week, her scenes were cut in half. The Prairie, once filled with warmth and laughter, now felt like a desert of secrets. Michael Landon, meanwhile, put on his best performance yet, not on camera, but in real life. He attended church events, smiled for reporters, and brought his family to public appearances. To the world, he was still Charles Ingalls, the man who could do no wrong. But behind the lens, he looked older. He drank more coffee. He spent long nights alone in his trailer, staring at old call sheets, his hand hovering over the phone that he never picked up. A studio executive later confessed, "We didn't just protect the show, we protected the myth." And sometimes, myths are more valuable than truth. By 1979, the rumor had faded, swallowed whole by Hollywood's next scandal. But the damage lingered. Karen Grassel's name slipped quietly from the front pages, and Michael Landon, the man who taught America about family, forgiveness, and faith, would carry one secret he could never confess. Because sometimes, even the most righteous stories are written in the shadows. Time has a way of softening even the hardest truths. By the mid-1980s, Little House on the Prairie had long ended, and America had moved on from the scandal that never made the papers. But Michael Landon hadn't. He carried it, quietly, invisibly, like a folded letter he could never throw away. To the world, he was still the symbol of faith and fatherhood, but behind closed doors, he was a man haunted by the gap between who he was and who he pretended to be. When reporters asked about Karen Grassley, he always smiled, polite, distant, but never cruel. He never spoke ill of her, and when she was mentioned in interviews, he would simply say, "She brought grace to the Prairie." Northern accent, none of it would have worked without her. In 1988, they met again, not on set, but at an NBC reunion dinner in Los Angeles. Time had drawn fine lines across their faces, but when their eyes met, it was as if 20 years dissolved in a heartbeat. Witnesses said they spoke quietly, their hands briefly touching on the tablecloth before pulling away. No tears. Northern accent. No bitterness. Just understanding and the silence that only forgiveness can hold. That night, a friend recalled seeing Michael step outside, light a cigarette, and watch the city lights flicker below. He whispered, almost to himself, "I guess the Prairie was never meant to last forever." When illness struck in 1991 and cancer began to steal the body that had once seemed indestructible, he faced it the same way he faced everything, with dignity, humor, and a strange calm. He wrote letters to old castmates, made calls to friends he hadn't spoken to in decades, and asked one favor of his family. "Don't let the world remember me for the parts I played. Remember me for the mistakes I tried to fix." In his final months, Michael spent his mornings near the ocean, the same quiet place he once used to hide from the press. Now he sat there openly, letting the waves wash away what secrets time refused to. Some days, visitors said he carried a small notebook. Inside it, one line was written again and again: "Forgive the past. Love what remains." When he passed away that July, Hollywood mourned a hero, a storyteller, a man who made America believe in kindness again. But those who truly knew him, the crew, the cast, and maybe even Karen Grassel, understood something deeper. That behind every perfect father figure, there's a man still learning how to forgive himself. Michael Landon left this world the way he lived his stories, with hope, with flaws, and with a heart big enough to hold both. And maybe that's why we still remember him. Not because he was perfect, but because he was real.